Hello, my name is FagaL, and I'll be talking about breaking Native American stereotypes in literature. When teaching books with Native American characters to children, it's important to be culturally competent. But how does one do that with a minority of so few numbers, such as Native Americans? It takes progressive thinking and accuracy for a teacher to reach into the hearts and minds of Native children and allow them to fulfill their potential without feeling like they're inevitably stuck in the past. Some traditional stereotypes have Native Americans as painted, whooping, befeathered, and a warlike people that have not advanced. This is evidenced by the fact that children's books with Native Americans are almost always fall into the historical fiction genre. They are portrayed as trapped in the past, unable to grow, and thus always remain an unchanging minority. In most cases, Native Americans are presented as primitive savages or romantic tragic figures of nature, an objectified and simplified people indistinguishable from each other. There are too few children's books being published to counteract the prevalent Native American stereotypes that have existed without the purposeful and conscious effort of a culturally competent teacher. The learning styles I've learned of Native children while doing this project are very interesting. Native people value cultural knowledge as a keystone to learning. The knowledge they receive at home from their family and community is the foundation of their worldview, and it is difficult to find success without understanding that Native learning style. Some points to be aware of: cultural disconnect between school culture and Native home culture, longer reflection time, generally. This is good, but it loses the initiative to non-Native children and leaves them feeling inferior. Communal truths rather than absolute truths, debating versions of myths, and trying to get across what they think is the best answer. More visual learning and global learners that require an overall picture. Non-Native teachers. Can they be accurate teachers? Who can speak for a culture? Those questions are up for debate, but it is important for non-Native teachers to try to adapt to Natives' children's preferred way of learning, to teach the mainstream skills that they likely avoided with that learning, and find authentic tales to share with everyone. By doing this, the teacher can hopefully combine the traditional and the mainstream and hopefully help the student succeed. General themes in Native American literature are historical and autobiography, outsiders brought into Native culture, quest for identity, legacy of ancestors and their values, physical and spiritual harmony with land, strong sense of community, lost or diminishing cultures, and survival in the wilderness. These themes throughout my reading are the most prevalent ones. Tales in the classroom. Now, this is a good tactic, I think, for non-Native teachers to interact and show diversity. Native Americans' tales contain the spiritual, social, and political worldview of people without history books. Disregard for them breeds teacher and student distrust. One of these that I like the most is be tribal specific and not generic. There's not just a Native American culture. There is a Iroquois, a Sioux culture, a Cherokee culture. Each tribe is different and has their own qualities they are proud of. To do this, it's important to select the best materials for the library or for whatever book you're reading. They should be where Native peoples are shown as human beings, in which they pay attention to the accurate, appropriate design and color of their clothes, their dress, etc. That show understanding the complexity of the Native societies, where Native adults are seen as mature individuals who work hard and make sacrifices, where Native societies are presented as separate from each other, with each culture unique, like I just said about the being tribal specific. Native American facts. These facts I found really kind of interesting. There's only 2% of the population that is Native American. They are generally below non-Native education and literacy. Assuming that 2% of the population of 6.6 million, take away a third of that for being elderly, you have a very small childbearing population of Native Americans, which is incredibly sad. It truly is a diminishing culture that we should preserve and see the benefits of. Of the 3,200 books published in the U.S., there were 8 by Native American authors, according to the CCBC multicultural statistics that I found. This is incredibly small number, especially compared to African Americans, Asians, and even Latinos. Native Americans are commonly overlooked. I find very few books in my library about Native Americans. And even more important is finding accurate ones and ones by Native peoples themselves. To sum up, to break the stereotypes of Native Americans is the hardest, but yet the most important act a teacher can make in teaching lessons and choosing what books to read. Native and non-Native students become aware of the minute phrases and portrayals of their own culture. The more real information they know, the better they can identify what is a true portrayal. This, along with the reinforcing activities, raises reading scores and self-esteem. It would benefit Native children to see successful stories of people of their own ethnicity in modern America, a people that has moved out of the past in the minds of mainstream America and into the future. Let's not just have the traditional Native American, but someone who is around today and moving forward and part of today's culture. Thank you.